Oh, baby. This is what we're living for, baby. Take a look here. I got a great one for you today. You might not even believe it when you see it. Activision Blizzard up 10% today? Activision stock up 10%? What could have happened? Well, a lot of you might know a lot of drama going on lately with the potential acquisition of Activision by none other than the big dog, Microsoft. Now, normally when you see a stock jump up this big, it's probably due to good news, right? I think it's fair to make an assumption we may have seen some good news here today that's led to this massive jump. Well, and yes, we have. Now, what might be that good news? Oh, that's right. The FTC's anti-American policy, their rhetoric, they've failed. The FTC has failed their quest to just obliterate, and let me tell you, they hate American companies. Look, I get it. It's going to be a big company at the end of the day, but they're both American companies, and the FTC, they really hate expansion of these big American companies. They'd rather have the international companies continue to just destroy us. That's what they want. Sorry, that's rude. I shouldn't get into that too much. Anyways, the FTC lost their case to block it. Microsoft was able to appeal starting a couple weeks ago, and they actually made that appeal, and the FTC lost the case. And what does that mean? That means Microsoft now has the ability to close this deal. They can officially close the deal now. That was the last thing that was really blocking them in this final acquisition. So the FTC, bye-bye. I'm sorry. Microsoft is allowed to make the $69 billion deal. That's a lot. It's a perfect amount if you ask me. 69 is a great number, enjoyable in many ways. And because of that, they centered the whole deal around it. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's pretty crazy of these guys over at Microsoft, let me tell you. Bill Gates is doing some weird things. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, Bill Gates is doing some weird things, to be honest with you. He's kind of a nutcase. How's Microsoft stock responding? Well, actually, not at all. Let's just be real here. Not at all any reaction from Microsoft stock. I mean, again, it's not a shocker that there's not necessarily as much reaction from Microsoft. Do you want to know why? This thing alone is already up 38% this year. I mean, it's hard to really get data that would drive it up a ton. And overall, we got to look at this, and that's what we're going to do in this video. What does this mean for Microsoft? How does this improve their business? Obviously, I've got a big stake here in Microsoft and a decently large stake in Activision. You want to know why? That's called arbitrage, baby. Felt like this deal was going to go through eventually, so I held on to my Activision even when things looked a little bleak, and it's actually paying off for me right now. Now, first off, we kind of want to know what the deal means for Activision shareholders, right? It's worth noting. Now, whereas terms haven't been fully announced, we do have this number to go off of this $69 billion. Now, what does that mean necessarily for the shareholders? Well, if you look at the total shares outstanding for Activision, that puts us at, you see the info right here. What the heck is going on here? They're playing videos. Get out of here, Fox Business. I might need to just boom. There we go. Now it never happened. It's not going to play again in my ears. Thankfully, it didn't play for you because I have the audio muted. Anyways, take back a look at this calculator here. Based off that $69 billion line, it's equating to roughly around $87.90 a share. Now, you see the stock itself definitely has surpassed that quite a bit here when it jumped $8.85 here so far today. It's obviously surpassed that. Now, one thing I will note, I would say it'd be very, very much unlikely that it's just going to be an all-stock deal where they simply just pay $87.90 a share. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think there will be a little bit of a premium for shareholders of Activision stock. And what might that be? Honestly, I would presume there is a chance they do offer just cash, right? If they were to offer stock, it might be something at a 1-to-3 ratio. Now, if you're Microsoft, I don't know if you want to increase and really just let that many shares outstanding increase by that amount. So for them, it likely will be better to do this deal mostly in cash. But like I said, there will be a premium. Now, what will this premium be? My opinion, probably closer to $90 a share for the shareholders. It might not be, right? It might be exactly this here, right where it's at. So that's what it is. That's what you get for Activision shareholders. Definitely a pretty exciting time for people that have been holding on, um, and some that have cost bases relatively low. So not too bad at all. Now let's talk about the value add for Microsoft. Right? Now, this one already, I mean, it's a massive company. There's no doubt about it. Trading at a $2.47 trillion market cap at the current level. Obviously, that helps decrease the valuation just a little bit, and the PE ratio will decrease just a little bit here as well, based off of the earnings that you get from the Activision deal. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight is from a revenue perspective. You look at Microsoft as a whole, and you see Microsoft. Is currently, if you look on an annual basis, just last year put up a $198 billion line. Now, Activision, not nearly that same size, right? Activision, for an annual standpoint, put up 7.52 last year, and currently on a trailing 12-month basis, putting up $8.14 billion. Now, what does that add for Microsoft? It's not a massive amount, obviously. Around $8 billion on top of this $207 billion on the trailing 12-month basis. Hey, it's nothing to necessarily scoff at, though. I mean, it's going to be a decent amount, all things considered. Now, when you look at it on the grand scheme of things, we're talking about, I mean, 4%. Somehow there's a gnat in my room and it's flying around me and it's kind of setting me off. We're talking about, a 4% growth in the revenue standpoint. It's not anything crazy, but again, Microsoft is already growing on a trailing 12-month basis around an 8%. 8% revenue perspective. So you increase that by 4%, we're talking about yet another double-digit gain in revenue year over year. And that's pretty crazy to do when you're a company that's already, darn it, it's in my face, already over $200 billion in revenue in a year. That's a crazy amount. And you will see growth rates will decline. I mean, it's just natural. It's just natural to see. But overall, it's a great thing to have for Microsoft, is really just another avenue for growth. And honestly, from my perspective, it's not just the value add they get right away. I think there's a lot that you need to look into when you actually take a peek at this. So with Activision, you get the absolute just myriad of content that they own, right? You've already seen a really good success this year from Diablo 4 sales. Some might be due to this particular ad you've seen with Megan Fox. Can't show too much of that, but let me tell you, wowzers. That's going to get gamers playing. I'll just tell you that right now. They're going to buy it for that advertisement. With that being said, that's not the only thing they have, right? We're talking about a big mobile presence with King, the owners of Candy Crush and games of that like, right? Quite a bit. Obviously, Activision itself has really the biggest shooting games out there. We've got Call of Duty. That series is consistently a great seller. It just always is, and they're releasing those bad boys once a year. Kind of crazy, but they're just doing it. Not much gets added usually, but that's anyways, okay. And then we have Blizzard, who have you know and love them for why can't I think of look, somehow I can't think of it. Let me just forward. What the heck? What else did they have here? Why can't I think of what they have? World of Warcraft. That's what I'm thinking of, Blizzard. I've never played it. Sorry, folks. I know. Anyway, still one of the largest MMOs in terms of just overall player base, and they've consistently been playing it, and they're going to still continue to play it. Now, a big benefit here as well is not only going to be just that increased content, it also opens up the door for exclusives, right? We're talking about potential exclusives that could go specifically on Microsoft's platforms with the Xbox Series X, and so on and so forth. So their consoles could be exclusives in a lot of facets here, which is pretty intriguing because obviously that increases. It's got definitely a chance, and it likely should increase the overall consoles that they sell if they're having exclusives, obviously. And this is, we get into a philosophy, and it's something I'll talk about even later with a company like Apple, where one of the big things is if you're a company that sells hardware, to get people in your ecosystem is massive. You're going to be once you get that, it's really a one-time purchase for that console, right? Um, and then obviously you replace it probably every 4 years or so, depending on when they die or if you want to upgrade because they have new versions coming out. But anyways, you buy that console, and then from there, you're spending more on the Microsoft platforms. You're utilizing the Microsoft platforms more. You're getting more engrossed into the ecosystem that Microsoft has, right? That's a big, big player here. So there's a lot more to the value add than simply just the overall revenue you get from the Activision Blizzard team, right? There's more to it. And because of that, hey, look, I'm still going to continue to be very bullish on Microsoft. You know I have been for a while. Look, that's what I got for you folks. I just thought it was worth breaking the news. If you haven't seen it, this is massive. I hope you're excited and hope you have a great rest of your day. Tune in tomorrow for a video specifically detailing my largest position, baby. You already know what it is. I love you folks. Have a great one.